Hello dear students, in this video we are going to see about how to create a graphical user interface using Java Swing package. So until now you would have given input and you have received input through this console window. Rather than giving the input and getting the output through the console window, if you create a graphical user interface like this is an example. This calculator is an example for graphical user interface, right? Rather than typing it in the console window, if I just say 5 plus 6 equal to 11, if it will be very user friendly to give the input and to receive the output. So we are going to create a such window using this Java, and I'll be demonstrating you to create this kind of window here. For example, here it is asking enter your name. So I'm going to give the name as John and some register number. Hmm, I'm going to give, and then I'm going to give the mark, for example, 99 and 100, and then I'm going to add the mark. So 99 plus 100 is 199, and I'm going to display it in this text area, and I'm going to get the grade of it. So here the grade is O grade. That's how I have defined it. So if I change the marks, for example, if I say the mark is 81 and 85, and if I check the grade, it will be giving the grade as A. So we are going to see how we can design all these things using this Java. So let us discuss one by one. Let me create, this is the Java class where I'm going to do. Here I have kept the main function in a separate class, let it be. To define or create this window, I'm going to use another new class called GUI example. Okay, let it be. Uh, we are going to create a class. So this is just a class. So already you would have an experience of creating an exception, user defined exception, and how to create a thread class and all these things. In all this, for example, if you want to create an exception, you will extend the exception class. If you want to create a thread, you will extend the thread class, which are all already predefined. Similarly, here, if I want to create a window where I'm going to create or place all the components, what I have to do is I have to extend, which means I'm going to inherit a class called JFrame. Okay, so this JFrame is available inside a package called Swing, which is inside the package called JavaX. So I have included it. So rather than specifically every time including each and every classes from the Swing, we can directly say as Swing asterisk. So which says all. So I'm going to use necessary classes from the Swing package. So now we have extended. So now what I'm going to do, this much will not help us to create anything. So if I want to, if I run it also, I will not get anything. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a constructor here. So we know that the constructor have the same name as that of the class name. And and now let us give some properties for this frame. So now this class itself is a frame. So if I want to call this, we can instantiate inside the main function. So let me create an object here equal to new class name. So this will call the constructor. So we know that whenever we create an object, this constructor will be called. So if I run this program, I will not get any output. So what I am going to do is, this class is a frame only, but still I want to see it, right? So I have to make it set visible as true. So when I make it visible as true, when I run this program, you can see a small window appearing here. I'll show it. It is here. I hope you can able to see it. And it doesn't have any size for it, right? So just we have this close, maximize an icon window. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give size for it. So how to do the sizes? We have a function called set size, which is already available here inside the JFrame. And here I'm going to say what is the width and height. So let me give the width as 500 and height also as 500. Now if I run this program, you can see a pretty better window with the height and width as 500. So now we can give the title for this window. So for that we have a function called set title. So in this, we can give the title. Let me see, GUI example. And if I now run again, I can see the title for my window. So if I run it, you can see the title is appearing here, right? One more thing, if you notice here, if I close this window also, your program is still running, which shows that the program has not, which means the frame have not completely closed. So for that, we have a function called set default close operation. In that, we have to give JFrame dot, we have to close it, right? So we have to do close, exit on close. So now if I run this program, we'll be getting this window. Now if I close this window, the program is also get terminated. So this is how we, otherwise the program will be still, the window will be still alive, it will not be closed. So this line help us. So set default close operation, that is a function where we are going to say close this or exit this JFrame. So this is how we can able to make a window. So this is one option of creating a JFrame by extending the JFrame class here. So another way also I will show you. If we are not interested to extend the JFrame, we can do one thing. I can create a JFrame object. So I'll say JFrame object name equal to JFrame. So I'm going to create this JFrame object. Now the frame is ready. Even now, what we are going to do is all these things we are going to say for this frame. So we have to add this object. So f dot, the object of the frame dot, then f dot, f dot, f dot. So instead of extending the JFrame class, we have created the JFrame object, and then for this JFrame object, we are setting the title, size, visible, and the closing option. So if I run it, I'll get the same window again. So I just showed you the different possible way how we can create a frame. So if I close it, this window will be closed. So whichever is comfortable for you, you can go. So here, if I create like this, every time you have to refer this object, then you have to say everything. Otherwise, you can do as we did earlier. Just we can extend the JFrame class and you can run it. So we will get the window. Okay. So let me close it. So what is the next thing I show already is, so we want to create this kind of window, right? So we want something to be written here, enter your name. Nearby that, I want to get the input. Then I'm asking enter your register number. Nearby that, I'm getting the register number. So likewise, I want to design it. So what we are going to do is, inside the JFrame class, we have many components available inside. You can see it here. So here, if you see here, this is the Java Swing class hierarchy diagram. And you can see here, inside the this object is the super class of Java. We know that. Under that we have a J component. Under that, these are the different components available inside the JFrame. Okay, so we are going to see few of this component in this class. So according to this, we are going to use the components like this is called JLabel. This is called JTextField, and this is the JButton, and this is the text area. So we are going to use this components and we are going to make this window for you. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first initialize. So you know that what is the purpose of a constructor, right? To initialize all the data members of this class. So here we are going to use this JFrame function classes, and we are going to create all these components. So the first component what we see here is the JLabel. This is the JLabel. So every classes here under the swing start with J. So JLabel. Okay. So label, and then how many labels you want here? You can see, if we see here, we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 labels you want, right? So we are going to give some reference for this JLabel. So first I'm going to get the name. So I'll say L name, which means label name. And then I'm going to get the register number. So I'm going to say register number. Or I can say, then I'm going to get 2 marks. So label M1, just I'm going to give some reference for this class. Then label mark 2, and then I want to display the total. So these are the references we are going to create for this. Now we are going to define this as an object. So the first is L name. So we just create an object, new JLabel. So we just create a label. So inside that I have to say enter your name. Okay. So let's, if I, so I have added a label to this. If I run it, you cannot able to see this label inside the window. Okay, so what we have to do is I have to add this to this JFrame. So what I have to add L name, that is the label name. So now if I run this program, this label will be added to our window. So this is our window of size 500 cross 500, and enter your name is coming here. So you have to, okay, let us do one more thing and I'll tell you. Then I'm going to create the next label, that is label register number. So I say, again, I'm going to create an object for this JLabel, and I'm going to say enter your register number. So now if I run again, it will not come, so I have to add it. So I'll say add, what is the next time also you can do, and we'll say add LREG, that is the label name which we have given for this label box. And now if I run it, you can see only one thing displaying here. See, first thing we displayed is enter your name, that is not coming, and the second thing, enter your register number, is coming. Why? Because this is a window, right? This is the JFrame where we are going to arrange all the components. By default, all these components are arranged in a layout called card layout. So we know how we arrange a card, right? We'll keep the card and one behind, everything will be going behind. So who is in the top, only we can able to see it. Others we cannot display because it is behind it. So that is the default package. So what we are going to do is we are going to use another package which is already available in Java. So we are going to set the layout for it. And the layout we are going to use here is flow layout. Okay, which is also already available. This flow layout is available inside a package called AWT, Abstract Window Toolkit. There we have a class called flow layout. Using the flow layout, we are going to assign the layout for this window. So now, since I have added the flow layout, you can see this, all this one by one now. Add the semicolon. So now you can see it will be coming one after the other. So first it is asking enter your name, and then it is coming enter your register number. So flow layout means it will be coming one after other. So that is what the flow layout is. There are another layout called border layout, grid bar layout are all available. So now in this video we are going to use only flow layout. The default one is card layout. Okay. Now the two label boxes are ready. So let us do the remaining as well. So let me copy it. So we want the next one is label marks. So I'm going to ask enter your mark 1, maybe for any subject. And then next one is mark 2. I'm asking enter your mark 2. And then the last one is we want to display the total of it. So we have given the name as L total. So we are going to say enter the total is. So we say total is, we are going to calculate it. Okay. So now if we want to add all this thing, then only it will be displaying all this. So then We have added this too. So what are the remaining thing we have to add is label mark 1, and then similarly we have to add the rest, label mark 2 and the label total. So these are the name we have just given for it. So now if we run it, we can see all the labels coming to us in the window. But it will be, since it is in the flow layout, it will be coming one after other. But according to the output which we want, nearby the label, we want the text box. So this text box here in Java is called text field. So nearby enter a name, we want the text field. And nearby the register number, we want the text field, right? So what we are going to do here is, we are going to create the text field now. So how many text field we want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same as for the label, we want the corresponding text field also. So everything here, it starts with J, then it is text field. Okay, so text field. So I'm going to use the same label. Here we are, everything started with L. So here I'm going to say it is text name. There we gave us label name, no? So just to easily remember, we can give some meaningful name. So I'm going to say text mark 2, and here I will say text total. Same way we have to define all this here, and we have to create all the object for it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, first is tname. Tname is the first text box. Tname equal to, want to create object, we know how to create object for it. J text field. And we can also give what should be the size of it. Let me give the size as 20. Similarly, I have to create everything. So nearly 5 text fields are there, right? So the text second one name is text register number, to get the register number. Next one is to get the first mark, and next one is to get the mark 2, and the next is to display the total. So all this thing is ready. Now, if you don't add it, we cannot see anything. So we are going to just add all these things. Where should the order we have to maintain? So nearby the label name, we have to add what? The text name, T name. So instead of writing everything in the separate line, I'm going to do like this. Even you can even do it in the separate line also. But let me do like this. But I'm separating everything with semicolon. Hope you have noticed it. After that, nearby the mark, I want to get the, I have to have the text M. So to get the marks, after the nearby the label, I want what? The text to get the text field to get the marks. Finally, nearby the total label, I want the text field to display the total. So we have added all these things. Now I'm going to run it, and you can see all the comments. So let me show you. So like this, you can see here. So nearby the name, you can see enter. This is the label, this is the text field. And this is the label, enter a register number. Near there we can give your register number. Here you can give your marks. And here you can give your second mark. And finally, you want to get the total of it. Okay. So if you see here, this is our objective. So we have did this many parts. What is the next thing we want is, we want this button so that we can do some functionality over there. So what I'm going to do, let us create a button. So for this, we have a class called JButton. So that will help us to create a button. So how many buttons we want here is 3 buttons. So let me name this display, add, and grade. So let me say display. We can start with B so that we can remember it is a button. And next one is I want to get the total so that we can say this add. And then next is I'm going to give the grade. So any name you can give. If we give some meaningful name, we can easily remember. So as usual, we have just given the reference of this class JButton. Now we have to create this as object. So let us create the object. So what is the first button name is B display, button display. So that is what the name I have given. So then we have to create as an object. So J So inside, what should I display on it? On the button, I have to say display. So similarly, we have to create the other two buttons as well. What is the second button? It is button add. So I'll say button add. So here the text over the button I'm going to give us add. And here again, what is the next button I want is grade. So when I click on it, it should display the grade. So here on the button, let us display it as grade. Okay, so the button is ready, but if I run it again, I cannot see anything on my window until we add it, right? So we cannot see any button. So we want to add it. So after this, we'll add it, right? So what is the first thing you want to add is which button you want to add? This button. So I'll say add the display, followed by I'll just add the button add, and then followed by we will add the button grade. Grade is the name we have given for the object. So now if I run this program, I can see all the three buttons on the window. So now you can see all the three button coming on the window. So if you see, this is our target. So we have also added all these three buttons, right? So now below that you can see this is called as this area. No, this area is called as text area. So if I want to get a one line of input, you can use this text field. If I want to display or get more than one line of input, then you can go for text area. So let us see how to do that. Similarly, you can guess what may be the name. Definitely it start with J, and next is text area. This text area, and we are going to use only one text area. Let us display give the name as this. Okay, or we can give it as display also, whatever you want. Let us shortly give it as this. And now what do we have to do? Again, we have to define it, right? So let us say this. We want to create an object for that class. So now here we have to give how many rows and how many columns we want here. Let me give us 5 rows, and let me give us 10 columns. Okay, we check it. How does it come? And it doesn't come, right? We want to add it. So after the button, we'll display this. So we'll say add, and what is the name of the object is this. So now if I run it, we can able to see the text area. And if you see, our text area is very small text area. I hope you can see this is our text area. So let me increase it. So let me increase the what we can say, the number of columns we want here. Let me give the number of columns is 30, and let us check how does it come. I think now it is fine, right? So now it is fine. Little bit bigger one, we got a bigger one. So now it is enough. So now you can see exactly this is what we were aimed to do. We got all these components added to this. So now I hope you have learned how to add a text label. This is the label JLabel. This is the text field, and this is the button, and this is the text area. So now we have did it. But what here I did, I showed you when I said display, all the data is coming here in the text area. When I did add, click on the add button, the data which I given here get added and displayed in the total. When I click on the grade, it showed me the grade, right? So we have to do that functionality as well. So now if here, in this case, if I give all this value, and if I give the marks, and if I just click add, nothing is coming, right? Because we didn't add any functionality to it. So to do the functionality here in Java, we have a listener is there. So when it is an even, for example, in the calculator, if you see here, when I clear, it's clearing. When I click 9, something is happening, right? Some even, click even. When I click on it, what to be done? When I click on it, what to be done? 1 is displayed. When I click equal button, we got the sum of 99 plus 1. So all this is called as event. So in the window, somebody should be keep on listening. Is there is any event happening or not? So to listen that, we have many listeners are there in Java. So here in this video, we are going to see only action listener. So whenever we do some event using button, so what I did here is when I click on this, it should do some event, right? So when event occur through a button, for listening to that, we have an interface called action listener. Okay, so it is an interface. So if I want to use the interface, we might already learn, if we want to use an interface, we want to use a keyword called implements action listen. Okay, action listen, implements. Okay, so this action listener is available inside this package called Java AWT event. Under that, we have the interface called action listener. And you can see an error here, right? We know that whenever we are implementing an interface, we have to define also the function present inside the interface. This action listener is a functional interface which have only one abstract function inside this. So we are going to define it. So if you click here, it will ask add unimplemented method. So you can see the method for that is, this is the method. What is the method? Action perform. This is the one. Now you can see the error is also gone. So the only one function or the method present inside the action listener is this one, action perform. So we know that it should be public and it is void. Return type is no return type. So the function is action perform. And all the events, whenever there is an event, the listener will be listening and creating an object and it will be thrown to this function. So that is captured through action event class. In this object, you can give any name to it. Okay, so what is actually here we want to do is, whenever I click on this button, that event need to be captured according to the button which I click, that corresponding activity should be happening, right? So what I'm going to do is, here I have three buttons. One is to display, one is to add, one is to display the grade. So to this button, I'm going to link it with this function. To link it with the function, what I have to do is, so which button first we are going to give the activity for this display button. So dot add action listener of this. So I'm going to give this current, the object of the current class which implemented this action listener. Okay. So whenever I click on this display button, when I click on this display button, this button will be connected to this function. So if I want to tell you an analogy for it, for example, in our house, we may be having a switchboard, right? To this switchboard, first what we'll be doing, we have a switchboard, a switch. We'll be fixing it on the switchboard. For example, when I switch on the switchboard, the fan should rotate. So what we'll do, we'll have a connectivity or wiring between the switch and the fan. Similarly, here also, what is our switch? All these components are the switch. So to add it on the frame, that is our switchboard. We did all this add function. So we now the switchboard is placed on the switch is placed on the switchboard using add. Now the functionality, this fan should rotate. The functionality we have to add here, and the wiring, no wiring is what this. So this will connect this button with this function. Like the switch with the fan, there should be a wiring. Similarly, there should be a wiring between this button and to the function. That is done by this add action listener. I just told you an analogy so that you can easily remember. So you can hope you have understood. So this will help me to connect this button with this function where the event is handled. Okay. So when I click on the display button, what should be done? We are going to define it here. There are many ways to define this function. Even we can do it using anonymous class, all these things. But here in this video, I'm going to tell you only one method in this way. Okay, defining a separate function, and then we are going to define it. Okay, similarly, what are the other functions we have, or other button we have is add button and grade button. So let us do the wiring for this as well. Wiring means what? Connecting this button to this function. So what is the other buttons we have? Button add. So for that also we do the wiring, right? So that is add action listener, and we are going to pass the current object of the current class which implemented it. Similarly, for the grade button as well, dot add action listener. And here we are again passing. So the wiring is now done. So the wiring between these three buttons with this function is done. So whenever I click on this button, automatically it will connect it to this function. Now in this function, we have to say how the fan should rotate, right? Wiring is done, then the fan should know how to rotate. So now we have to define it. Since we have three functions, we want to know which button is clicked, right? So if, for example, if we have one button to fan, one button to a tube light, another button to some other maybe. So everything should have separate functionality. Fan should rotate, light should glow. So everyone have their own functionality, right? Here also, this button have its own functionality display, and this button have its own functionality. So we want to know the event is created by which button. Which button created this event? So this action listener will be listening, and we want to know who created the event. So for that, I said whenever there is an event occur, an object will be created and that will be thrown to this object, right? So this E will be having all the information about the event occurred, who are all connected to this function. So who are all connected to this? These three buttons are now connected to this function. So we will be saying, we are going to check who is going, who have created this event. So if the event is created by get source, okay, get source is equal to this B display. If it is because of this display button, what to do? We have to define inside. Similarly, we have to say if this event is happened because of this B add. So how will we do? E dot get source. So the source is who created it. This equal to B add. So that is the name of the button, right? So this is B add is the name of the button. Hope you can see here. This is the name we have given to this button. And one more button is there. If the event sources because of grade. So B grade is the button name. So what we have to do? So all this thing we have to define. So now in the display, what I show here is when I click on the display, all the data present in this component should be displayed in the text area, right? So that is what we are going to do here. So first, initially, I'm going to get all the data. So we want to get the data entered in the name and text field, and then in the register number, everything. So first name is a string. So let me name. And this data is present inside which one? In this text field. So what is the name we have given for the text field is, we can see here, T name, T register number. So we can easily remember it, right? So I'm going to say, I want to get the name from the text field. I'll say get text. Okay. So it will get the data which we have entered in the T name. Similarly, I'm also going to get the register number. So that is available inside the text field name TREG. I'm going to say get text. So that is also now ready. What is the next thing we want to get it? We want to get marks. The marks should be an integer number, right? So let us see how to do that. I'm going to get an integer value, the mark 1. So, but the data, whatever you enter, you get through the text field will be in the form of string. So, you hope you know that there is a type converter called integer dot parseInt. So, it want to convert which, what data? The data that is tm1 dot get text. T dot get text means you know, right? TM1 get text means it will get the data which you have entered in the text field TM1. What is the name of TM1? This one, right? The name we have given for the text field to get the first mark. So that data is present in the form of string. That is now converted to integer and now it is stored in M. Similarly, we want to get the data present in the next text box, that is TN2, right? So we got everything. Now what we can do is, I'm going to create a variable called total, where I'm going to add the mark M1 and the mark M2. So we got the total as well. So let us do the symbol one first. So when I click on the add button, the total should be displayed where. So here when I click on the add button, for example, let me give as 50 and the other one is also 50. So let me say 50. So 50 plus 50 when I add, it should give 100, right? So when I click on the add button, the data should be present. Anywhere you can add, you can make it as a text label and you can display it there. But here I have just created a text field, okay? It's according to your need. So the date, when I click on the add button, the result should come on this text field, right? So what I'm going to do is, where I have to display this mark in this, what is the name of the text field we have given? T total. So in this T total text field, I'll say T total dot set text, and you can see there it is going to accept only. See, I'll show you again. Dot set text. See, inside that you can see it is going to accept only the string. Okay, it is accepting the string. So, but our data is in the form of what? Integer. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to concatenate with a small space. So what happened? This integer will be converted to a string. Okay, this is an easy way to do that. So we want to give a string as an input. Directly, if I give total alone, it will show error because set text can only display a string. So to avoid it, we are going to concatenate with a string, an empty string, so that this also be converted to a string. Now let us see how it is working. Now I'm going to run it and you can see all this here. Wait a minute. So here you can see when I give some, let us arrange it in a presentable way. So here when I let me give some name, some register number. You can enter some register number. Okay, let me give you okay, some number, and here I'm going to give the first mark as 89 and the next mark is 60, and I'm going to give add. So 89 plus 60 get added and it is displaying here. So this button work is done, right? What is the next one we want to do is display. When I click on the display, all this data should come here, right? Let us do that. Okay, so for that, if you see here, what I did is first I want the like a header of this table. So I want here is name, then register number, then mark to right. For that, what I'm going to do is here itself, what I'm going to do is, what is the name of the text area? DIS, right? So in the DIS, I'm going to append something. What I'm going to append, what is the form I want? First, I want to say name. Okay. Followed by the name, I'm going to give, here itself, let us give tab space. And then I'm going to give what? Register number. And then let us give a tab space. And then we are going to display the mark one. And then give a tab space. Then I'm going to display the mark two. And that's it. Okay, so enough. Okay, so finally we close this. So now when I run it, you can see here, you can see in the text area, this title is coming, right? Name, register number, mark, and mark 2 is coming. That's fine. Now what I want to do, when I click on this button, which button? This display button, it should show all the data entered inside the text boxes, right? So for that, what I'm going to do again, let me take DIS append. Okay, just use append, then only it will be added. Otherwise, it will clear the already available data, and once again it will rewrite it. So we don't want to do it. We want to append every time. So what are the data it want to append? First is you want to append the name. After appending name, I want to give a tab space followed by, then I want to add the register number which is in the variable reg, then followed by again I want to give a tab space. Again, I want to give the mark one, which is in the variable m1. So let's say m1. Again, add a tab space. So for a good look, okay. Plus, again, I want to display the mark two. Plus, so I think that's it. We are only these things we are adding. So now let us run again and check how this button is working. Okay. So now let me give the name as John, or we can give Peter, the register number URK, some number, and then let me give the markers 99 and 100. So when I click add, it is adding 99 plus 100 is 199. When I click display, so it is coming the same line. Let us do one thing here. So every time you will go to the next line. Okay, say go to next line. So every time, whenever it is adding the new record, it will go to the next line. So now when I run it, you can see there are many ways to arrange all this component. Okay, even you can set the boundary where it to be fixed in XY coordinate, and you can do. You'll see in other some other time. So now again, I'm going to give the name Peter and some register number, and then I'm going to give the markers 100, and then 100, and then 99, and so it got added. Display it got. So once again, if I click display, it is coming. Let us give the other person as Joe, and the register number. Let the marks be 88, and let it be 99. So when I display, Joe got added. So this button is also working fine. Hope you got it right. So only the last one is grade. So let us see how the grade. So if you remember in this, what I showed you is when I click on the grade, it should show the according to the marks I have entering. Are you studying well? If it's 50, 50. So if the grade is 50, 50, it's showing accordingly the different text dialog boxes. Let us see how to do that. Okay. So for this, for example, if you see, if they are getting good marks, for example, if I say 96 and if I say as 99, if I check the grade, it will be O grade. So if I give the marks here as 81 and 82, so the grade will be different. You can see the grade is A. So according to the total, we want to find the average. According to the average, we are going to set the grade. So let's see how to do that. Okay. So I'm going to find the average. So let me say average is equal to total divided by 2. So I got the average. Now I'm going to say if average is greater than 95, then we want to show a pop-up box, right? So how to display the pop-up box here is there are many kind of pop-up box are there in Java Swing under Swing package. So we are going to see one by one. So it is available inside the JOptionPane dot. We have show under the message dialog. There are many things. We are going to show this message in this current window. So I'm going to say as current class, I'm going to give where should I give, that is a parent component. So I'm going to say in the current window. So it shows this followed by, let me give the title. So what will I say the title? I'll say first I'm going to say there are many kinds of message dialogues are available. So let me show that for you. Okay, so it will be easy. We'll finish quickly. So here, if the this is average mark is greater than 95, I'm going to make it as string as grade as O. Okay, and then I'm going to say in the current window, So there are many, nearly some 4 kinds of message dialogues are there. One is information message, another one is warning message, another one is error message, another one is question message. Just these are all message only. So as I already showed you, this is JOptionPan. Show message dialog is the function. Where to display this dialog box on the current parent window. What is the title of this pop-up box is grade, and no, this will be showing what will be the content of this pop-up box, and this is the title of the pop-up box, and what kind of message I'm going to convey is J option dot information message. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. Okay, I'll just quickly paste it here. So grade in the current window. Okay, if I run it and I'll show you this for you. So let me give a good grade for this. So it should be greater than 95%, right? So let me say the markers 96 and 99. And if I check the grade, you can say the grade as O. And grade and G, what is G? The grade which we give, O grade, followed by grade info. That is, you can see the title, and it's what kind of dialog box, it's the information. So you can see it as icon as I. Okay, we can give okay, close it. Similarly, we can write the other condition as well. So let us see all the thing. If the mark is greater than 80, okay, then we can say the grade as yes, grade. Okay, so that is a string. I just gave in a string variable, so that will come here, and we can say now we can make the J option pan as there are many things are available. Option pan dot, we can say we have warning message as well. So we can say great. Just to show you the different kinds of pop-up box I am just using here. Okay, we can say it is warning. This will be the title given for it. So now let us check it. So if my mark is greater than 80, you will get like this. So we can say the markers 81, another one is 82, and now if we check the grade, I'll get, see, this is what is called as warning. So you can get an icon, and what is the title I have given? Grade warning, that is coming here, and the grade, and S is the grade we give. Okay. Similarly, we can also do the others. So the next thing we can say, we can give else if. And here also we can say else if the grade is greater than 75 or whatever it may be, even you can say 70, we can say the grade as A grade. And here the next kind is we can say as error. ERRO. So for that we have to say J option pan dot error message. So we'll get that kind of icon. So let me run it for you. So now for this, in this, when I give the mark greater than 90, you can see, let me give a 71 and the next is 72. And if I give the grade, you can say this is the error message, right? So similar way, you can have others also. So the next one we have is question message. If you give it as question message, you will get a question mark over there. So let me quickly do it for you. And next is if it is greater than 60, let us say the grade is B grade. And here let us say grade question, just an title. Okay, so here instead of error message, let me say as question. So you will get now if it is nearing to 60 or greater than or equal to 60. So let us say 61 and 62. If I check the grade, you will get an icon question, and then you can see the title as grade question and the grade is B. Okay. Similarly, you can have another, if it is greater than 50, next thing is we can get the input from the, here it is just all this are message dialog. So now what is the next thing I'm going to show is we can get a input also from the user. So what I'm going to do is, So if the average is greater than 50, I'm going to say JOptionPan. Here it is show message dialog, and then here I give what kind of message I want. Here the input is show input dialog. Here it is message dialog, it is input dialog. I'm going to say enter your name. Then I'm going to get the name in this variable. I'll say the name study well because your mark is just greater than 50 alone. So now if I run it, you can check here if the mark I'm going to give is nearing to 50. Let me say 51 and 53. And if I check the grade, you can say enter your name. Let me say as Peter. So I'll say it's, I have showed here Peter study well. So that is what we did here. So in the console window, we just say Peter study well. You can use any other option, okay? Even you can keep a label box there, and there you can display study well, whatever you want. Similarly, the last one is, you can even say else, okay? Just say, we'll say else, which means they not perform well, they got less mark. So there we have another input box called confirm. Okay, so dialog confirm. So here, why it is showing error is it is going to return an integer value. So the return type of this is a string. Show input dialog will return a string, but the show confirm dialog will return an integer. So here we can say something. Why you didn't perform well? Like that, you can ask a question, reason, or anything you can ask, and you can get the reason, and you can display here. So here I have are you studying well? I have just asked that. So let me put that here. Same thing. But here I ask, are you studying well? And I'm going to get yes or no or cancel. I'm going to display it. So now let us run it. And when I run it, so I'll say the markers like 25 and 32. So now I'm going to check. It is asking, are you studying well? If I click yes, you will get 0 here. If I click no, you will get 1. If I click cancel, you will get 2. So based on the response, if you want to do any other process also, you can do it. So these are the different kind of message box, or you can say dialog boxes or pop-up boxes available under the swing. One is message dialog. Under the message dialog, we have information, warning, error, and question. The next one is input dialog. You can get the input from the user. Based on that, you can do something. Here we are getting the name in a string variable. Then we said based on name, study well, Peter study well or something. Here it is confirmed. We are just saying if you want to, do you want to delete it, or if you want to get some kind of confirmation, you can use confirm. And as I showed you, 0, 1, 2, 3 is the response. If you click yes, you will get 0. No means 1. Cancel means 2. These are the different options. Now we got a full-fledged code as I showed in the beginning. This is what we are going to design, right? So we got the full-fledged one. So I will once again run this code and show it for you. So this is what, and we are just adjusting to have a good look of it. So here I can give some name as Danny, and the register number URK some number, and I'm going to give the mark as 96, and you can display it so that it will come in here, and you can add it so you'll get the total. You can also get the grade, right? Hope you have got it, how to define a GUI, a simple GUI with some of you of the components: label, text box, button, and text area. Hope you have got it. God bless you.